My name is Emily Warren. I'm 32. Most mornings begin with black coffee and silence. Not the lonely kind, just the kind you grow into after years of being the one who has it together. I live alone in a quiet part of Chicago. I run a design firm. Clean lines, clean ledgers, clean exits. That's how I like things now. But it wasn't always like that. 3 months ago, I was supposed to be planning a wedding. Booking a vineyard venue. Finalizing colors with my fiancé. And texting my sister Victoria about the bridesmaid dresses. Now, Victoria is the one planning that wedding. Same venue. Same colors. Same man. People say betrayal feels like a slap. But when it comes from family, it's slower. Quieter. Like water seeping through cracks you didn't know existed, until the floor beneath you gives way. And the only sound left is your own name, fading from the story. Victoria was always the pretty one. Not in a way that demanded attention. In a way that made people hand it over without asking. When we were kids, Mom used to joke that Victoria was born smiling. She said I came out serious, like I had bills to pay. And in a way, I guess I did. By high school, I was the planner. The fixer. The one who canceled plans to drive Victoria across town for a date because she lost track of time. Mom never scolded her. She'd just glance at me and say, "You're the responsible one. You understand." I paid for my own college. Took night shifts at the campus library. Victoria got help from our parents. Said she needed space to figure things out. Figuring things out, apparently, meant switching majors 4 times and eventually dropping out to pursue energy healing. When our father passed, I handled the estate paperwork. Victoria handled the emotional spotlight. People hugged her longer at the funeral. Said things like she was always so close to him. She wasn't. I was. But I never corrected them. That's how it was. Always. She showed up late. I made sure the chairs were set. She cried over breakups. I stayed up editing her resumes. She borrowed my clothes. I replaced them when they didn't come back. One time, I wired her $12,000. She said she needed it for a recovery procedure. I didn't ask questions. Just transferred the money and told her to take care of herself. She never mentioned it again. When I got engaged to Nathan, she hugged me tighter than anyone. Said he was perfect for me. Said I deserved the happiness. Then she asked to borrow the dress I'd picked for our engagement shoot. Just for a charity event, she claimed. She smirked when she tried it on. It's cute. A little modest for me, but still, very you. I laughed it off. That's what sisters do, right? They tease. They share. They lean on each other. But over time, I realized something. Victoria never leaned. She latched. And I mistook that weight for closeness. It's strange how long you can live with that kind of gravity pressing on your chest and still call it love. Stranger still how quiet it feels the moment it lifts. It started with a ping. Just one, familiar, harmless. Nathan had left his phone charging on the coffee table while he showered. I was curled up nearby, half listening to the sound of water upstairs and scrolling through Pinterest for centerpieces I didn't care about anymore. I didn't mean to look. But the screen lit up, and the preview glowed like a siren. Victoria, Friday night. Private booth. She'll love it. I froze. No emojis. No context. Just those words. But it was enough. Arya wasn't just any restaurant. It was where Nathan had taken me on our first anniversary. He said it was the place he knew I'd say yes if he ever proposed. He did propose. 6 months ago. With a ring I paid half for because his liquidity was tied up in the startup. I stared at the message for a full minute, then reached for the phone. The passcode was still our engagement date. He hadn't changed it. What I found wasn't flirtation. It was logistics. Dinner reservations. Jokes only shared between them. Little plans tucked inside the days I thought he was working late or out of town. Then I saw the photo. It was her. Wearing the cream satin dress I'd picked for our engagement shoot. The one I let her borrow for some charity fundraiser last month. Her hip was cocked, one shoulder dropped, hand brushing her hair like it was a product shoot. Same dress. Same pose I'd practiced in front of the mirror weeks before. The caption, classic, with a twist. I didn't throw the phone. Didn't scream. Didn't cry. I placed it gently back where it was. Then stood and walked to the kitchen, as if I were thirsty and nothing else. My hands didn't shake, not yet. I poured a glass of water, took a slow sip, then texted Ethan. You awake? He replied in less than a minute. For you? Always. I called. My voice came out calm, sterile. I need to make a reservation. Arya. Friday. Table near theirs. He didn't ask why. He just said he'd handle it. That night, I opened the old leather journal I hadn't touched since New Year's. On a fresh page, I wrote one sentence. Let's see what it feels like to sit across from betrayal and not flinch. I underlined it 3 times. The next few days were quiet. I didn't confront anyone. I didn't bring it up to Nathan. I still cooked dinner. Still said goodnight. But every word I didn't say became a brick. And by Friday, I'd built a fortress. Friday came too fast. I remember watching the clock strike 5 p.m. like I was waiting for a verdict. Not fear. Not doubt. Just stillness. I didn't dress up for revenge. No red dress. No stilettos. I wore black. Clean. Fitted. Unapologetic. The kind of outfit Victoria would call intimidating. I curled my hair the way Nathan used to like, then pulled it back. It wasn't for him. Ethan was already waiting at Arya when I arrived. Navy blazer. White shirt. No tie. Calm, like always. He stood as I approached. You sure about this? He asked. I nodded once. Let's begin. We were seated just 3 tables down. The maitre d' had been discreet, as promised. The booth across from us was empty, for now. My wine was poured before I said a word. Crisp, dry white. I took one slow sip. My fingers didn't tremble. At 7:12, they arrived. Nathan walked in first. His eyes scanned the room, the way someone searches for recognition without being obvious. His hair was styled the same. His walk familiar. He still carried that slight hunch in his shoulders when he was nervous. I remembered how I used to touch the back of his neck to soothe it. I didn't feel the urge now. Victoria followed, all poised elegance and effortless glow. She was wearing the nude Louboutins I'd lent her over a year ago. Claimed she only needed them for a dinner with a client. She never gave them back. They laughed at something as they slid into the booth. Same side. Like a couple who had rehearsed this scene in their heads. I let them settle. Then I stood. Ethan didn't stop me. He just glanced at me once and nodded. I took the long route around, like I was heading to the restroom. But as I passed their booth, I stopped. Victoria looked up first. Her smile collapsed. Nathan turned next. His jaw dropped like a curtain falling on a failed act. I didn't flinch. Victoria, I said evenly. I believe you remember Ethan. Ethan appeared beside me, nodding politely. He didn't smile. He didn't need to. Nathan blinked hard. Emily, what is this? You tell me, I replied softly, tilting my head. I'm just here for dinner. They didn't move. Didn't speak. It was Victoria who looked away first. I turned to the maitre d'. Would it be possible to push these tables together? His face barely changed. Just a small nod. Silverware clinked. Table legs scraped. Linen merged. And just like that, the illusion of distance disappeared. Ethan and I sat across from them. 4 people, 2 histories, and 1 very clear truth. I didn't come to ask why. I came to show I already knew. For a while, none of us spoke. The tension sat in the middle of the table, heavier than the silverware. Victoria's hands were folded tightly in her lap. Nathan kept glancing at me, then at Ethan, then back again. I didn't give them anything, not anger, not forgiveness. Just stillness. Nathan broke first. Of course he did. It's not what you think, he started, voice already shaking. I was going to talk to you, Emily. I swear. We never meant for. Don't, I interrupted. Calm. Precise. Don't rewrite the timeline for my comfort. Victoria let out a soft breath, crossed one leg over the other. Her default posture. Defensive elegance. This isn't betrayal, she said, tilting her head. This is chemistry. Things happen. People change. Chemistry? I echoed. Is that what you call forwarding him the reservation I made for our anniversary? Nathan flinched. Victoria's jaw tightened, but she smiled through it. You always make things dramatic, she said. Even when we were kids. Remember the art contest? You acted like losing that photo spot was a war crime. I remembered. I didn't lose. I had won first place. Regional. My photo hung on the mantle for 1 week. Then Dad replaced it with Victoria's homecoming queen picture. He said it was more representative of the family. I never told anyone I saw him do it. I never told them I cried for 2 hours in the garage with the radio on just to drown it out. I'm not here to relive our childhood, I said. I'm here because you crossed a line. Multiple, actually. Victoria rolled her eyes. God, Emily. You're always the martyr. Ethan hadn't spoken since we sat down. But then, he reached across and lightly touched my hand beneath the table. Just enough. Just there. I trusted you, I said, finally looking at Nathan. And you took what I offered, my love, my loyalty, even my silence, and handed it to her. He opened his mouth, but nothing came out. Victoria leaned in. You don't get to gatekeep love. I almost laughed. You don't get to rename theft as love. She recoiled, just slightly, but enough. I reached into my bag and pulled out a folded piece of paper. Placed it on the table between us. Nathan blinked. What's that? Receipt, I said. From last year. $18,000. Transferred to you. He froze. Victoria looked at him. What is she talking about? You said it was for a medical emergency, I said quietly. But there was no hospital. No bill. No scar. Nathan turned pale. You used it to book the vineyard, didn't you? No one answered. I leaned back. And I bet you used my business plan too. Victoria's mask cracked. She looked at Nathan again. You said she didn't know. I didn't, he croaked. I thought we erased. I stood up. This dinner's over. I didn't slam anything. Didn't cause a scene. Just placed my napkin down gently, looked at the maitre d', and said, thank you. We're done here. He nodded, like he'd seen this kind of ending before. Ethan stood and followed me out. No words. No judgment. Just presence. Behind us, silence. But not peace. And not for them. 3 days later, I walked into the gala uninvited. I wore navy. Structured. Understated. Hair swept back, no jewelry but the ring I never returned. The venue was a museum rooftop downtown, glass ceilings, curated lighting, string quartet tucked in the corner like ambience. Victoria was already on stage. Her voice rang clear as she spoke to a sea of donors and executives. No shortcuts, she said, smiling sweetly. Just vision, hard work, and the people who believed in me. Behind her, a slideshow played. Her boutique. The launch. Our childhood photos, ones she scanned from my boxes. And finally, the logo, Warren Atelier. Applause followed. Camera flashes. Whispered admiration. I moved through the crowd without urgency. One glass of sparkling water in hand. One folder in the other. As the MC returned to the mic, he smiled. And now, to honor the contributors who helped build this journey, starting with a name you might recognize. He didn't get to finish. I stepped up. He blinked but didn't stop me. I took the mic, paused. I believe in stories, I said, voice even. Especially the kind where someone gets erased, and then writes themselves back in. A few polite laughs. More confused faces. I held up the folder. This, I said, is a receipt of the initial investment that launched Warren Atelier. The wire transfer came from me. Not Victoria. Not Nathan. Me. Murmurs. And this, I continued, unfolding another sheet, is the original business deck. Built from my research. My strategy. My design system. Forwarded to Nathan, when I thought he just wanted feedback. The room quieted. Behind me, I heard heels. Fast, urgent. Victoria appeared at the edge of the stage, smile gone. I'm not here to shame anyone, I said, turning to her. I'm here to correct the record. I handed the mic back to the MC. No dramatics. No drop the mic moment. Just truth, return to sender. As I walked off the stage, the air shifted. A rustle of whispers. A name reclaimed. Outside, the city felt cooler. Cleaner. I didn't look back. By morning, the video was everywhere. Someone had filmed the moment I stepped on stage. My voice, the contract, Victoria's frozen face, it all circulated faster than I could think. The headline on one repost read, "Silent no more, real founder reclaims her story." Emails poured in. Journalists. Former clients. Old classmates. But I didn't answer anyone. Later that day, Ethan called. The audit triggered, he said. Stripe flagged the LLC. The fund is pulling out until ownership gets clarified. I sat on the floor of my apartment. Not out of shock, but release. Like my body finally believed it didn't need to brace anymore. Then came the message I never expected. A voice recording. No name, just the subject line, "You should hear this." It was Nathan. She won't fight back, his voice said casually. Emily doesn't have it in her. We'll just shift things over slowly. By the time she notices, it'll be ours. A beat. Then Victoria's laugh. She always wanted things to be fair. That's her flaw. I stared at the screen until it blurred. Then closed the app and whispered, not anymore. 3 hours later, they showed up. Nathan knocked. Victoria stood behind him. No makeup. No posture. Just panic. We didn't mean for it to go this far, she said. We can fix this. Publicly. You don't have to go legal, just let it go. I looked at them the way you look at strangers who used to have access to your softness. You didn't ruin me, I said. You freed me. Victoria's lip curled. I don't even know who you are anymore. I smiled for real this time. Maybe that's the problem. You never did. I closed the door. Not hard. Not loud. Just enough for it to click. And in that moment, I didn't feel like someone who lost a fiancé, a sister, or a company. I felt like someone who reclaimed her name, and meant it. It's been a month since the gala. A month since I stopped asking to be seen, and started showing up for myself. Victoria's brand lost 3 sponsors. Nathan stepped down from his firm. But that's not the victory. The real win? I no longer flinch when I hear my name. I say it without apology. Sometimes, justice isn't loud. It's a door closing gently, and knowing you're on the right side of it. Have you ever had to reclaim your place in a story someone tried to erase you from? Tell me in the comments. I read every one.